besties, my name is Maddie and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be going over the books I read in July and my August TBR. And I'm just gonna be honest, there was not a lot of books read in July, okay? I was busy doing absolutely nothing, but I wasn't reading, I'll tell you that. I only read 10 books in July, which is still a lot, okay? Don't get me wrong, that is a lot of books. It just didn't feel like a lot for me. And then we'll also go over the 12 books I hope to read in August. I know it's a big jump, but we'll see if we get there. So let's jump right in to the books that I read in July. So I started off my month with reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Loved it, had such a good time with this one. 5 stars. So this follows Justin and Emma, and they go on dates with people, and then the people that they date end up finding like their one true love after. Okay, so they decide that they are going to fake date to break this curse that they both think they have, and it's just gonna be a short little fling, no feelings attached, anything like that. That never happens. I had such a good time with this one. I love the storyline of this. I love the characters. I love the characters' growth. I love the single dad aspect that this book took on. Like, it was so good. The mental health representation in this was amazing. I mean, if you have not picked up this book, pick it up because it is so hyped up, and it is hyped up for a reason. And it is definitely a book I recommend. Then I read Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. I rated this book 3.5 stars. Listen, I know that's a very low rating for an Elsie Silver book, but this one just, it was not my vibe. So this was one of the books that was picked on like 1-star reviews or whatever. I'll put the video somewhere in here if I can. Don't know if I can. And the review was, it gave Horse Girl vibes, and it did. It did. But it was fine. I mean, I had a good time. So this follows Billy and Vaughn, and Billy is a horse trainer, I guess you could say. And she goes to Vaughn's like ranch and is going to like train these horses. That's basically the premise of the story. She just loves this horse, she's gonna train this horse, and Vaughn just can't fall in love with his employee. That's it. And it was fine. It was her first book, I believe, too, and I mean, it was good. I didn't want to like DNF it or anything. It just wasn't a book that will stand out like, say, like the Chestnut Spring series or something like that. But we'll see how the rest of the series goes. Then I read Dirty Curve by Megan Brandy. I rated this book 3 stars. Listen, I don't know what it is about this book, but I did not have a good time with it, I don't think. Like, I don't think anyone would notice if you would quit moving your body. Oh, you're just so, oh, look at the face. Okay, back to what I was saying. I did not enjoy this book one bit. I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a lie, because I did kind of enjoy a little bit of it. It just wasn't my favorite. So this follows Tobias and Meyer, and Tobias is like a pitcher, I believe, or something for a baseball team, and Meyer is going to be his tutor. Tobias thinks he is a lady killer. He thinks he is the best at everything he does. He's very cocky, and I didn't like him. And usually in books, I'm like, oh, I love that. This way, not a fan. And he truly didn't turn around for me till like almost the very end. And I don't even know if he did turn around or if I was just like, I was in it and I was like, it's fine, I guess. 3 stars for this book. It follows their relationship. She's also a single mom, so that's kind of thrown in there a little bit. I thought he was going to be a little bit sweeter, a little bit. I thought I was going to like him a little bit more, because the whole reason I read this book is because I saw a TikTok, and it was one scene in particular where she's like having to take care of her little girl, and he like does something to help her or something like that, and like just the quote, I was like, oh, I love this. That was the only good quote in the book. Like, that was the only time he was a semi-decent human being, but it was fine, you know? 3 stars. Then I read Wrecked by Lauren Asher. I rated this book 4 stars, so this follows Jax and Elena. And Jax is a bad boy of F1, I guess you could say. He's a partier, he drinks, he does drugs, he does all things. And his boss, or something like that, wants him to like clean up his image. So he hires Elena to do that for him and like kind of be his babysitter. And it's going to be their little relationship. And I love this one. I like this one way more than the last one I read. I don't even remember what that one was called. The one, obviously, before this in the Dirty Year series. I was pleasantly surprised with this one because I was coming off the second one. I was like, I don't know if I'm really feeling this series. But I really enjoyed this one, and I like these 2 characters a lot. I really enjoyed Jack's character. I loved his little growth throughout of it, and I loved his relationship with his mom. I thought that was really sweet. And it was just all around a good book. I just didn't really like the 3rd act breakup in this. I was like, he came so far, and then he hit that roadblock and kind of like took him back a bunch of steps, and I was like, ugh. But still a book I recommend. Then I read Empire of Hate by Rena Kent. I rated this book 3.5 stars. Wasn't my favorite, and I truly think just this Empire series is not my favorite, okay? It's just, these characters I don't really care for. Like, they're just kind of like, they're side characters in the whole like Renaverse, and I just, not a fan of them, you know? So this follows Daniel and Nicole, and they were like enemies, I guess, when they were children or something like that. And he hates her. He doesn't like her. He doesn't like any blondes. Like, he's real set in his ways. And then one day she shows up at his job, and she is now his employee, and it's their relationship, and that's basically all it is. Just him not liking her and her being like, oh no. And that's it. And it wasn't fun, really, truthfully. I didn't like it. But what can you do? I'm getting through the Rita Kent universe, so if you're trying to do that too, yeah, you're gonna have to read this book. That's all I got. Then I left for a book bestie beach trip, and me and my sister listened to The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. I rated this book 3.5 stars. I think Logan also rated it like 3, maybe 3.5 stars. Wasn't my favorite thriller book by her, so this basically follows Nora, and when she's like 11 or 12, she discovers that her father is a serial killer, calls the police and is like, listen, put my dad away. They put him away. Fast forward like 15, 20 years later, and now women are being killed the same way her dad killed women, and her dad's in jail, so she's like, there's a copycat killer, they're out to get me too. And that's it. That's all I'm gonna say without spoiling anything. And it was fine. If you want a fast-paced thriller, this is your book, I guess. Then I got an arc for Starting Line by McKay Marie. I rated this book 4.5 stars. I had such a good time with this sports romance. So it follows an Olympic swimmer and an Olympic gymnast, and he is like the bad boy of the Olympics. Like, he does whatever he wants, yada yada yada, and she's the golden girl of the Olympics. And they are going to be working together on this TV show that documents like the training process, I guess, for the Olympics. And so now they're kind of having to work together, and it is so sweet. I had such a good time with it. I loved Caleb. I loved TJ. I loved when he found out what TJ's actual name is, and then his little inside joke he had with her. I love the scene where he like rushes out of the pool and is like telling everyone off because something happened to her, and he's always had like the persona of like, I don't care about anyone but myself, and oh, so good. I loved what just a sweet angel being he was under his like playboy exterior. Such a good time. This is also enemies to friends with benefits to lovers, and I mean, I love that storyline where it's like, let's just have this little agreement where we're not going to catch feelings, but that never happens. You know, feelings are always caught, and I kick my feet every time. I'm like, there's no way it's going to happen again, and it happens every time. I'm like, yes, love that. And it's definitely a book I recommend if you are interested in a little sports romance. And read it right now during the Olympics. I mean, watch one of the men's swim races and then read this book, and you'll understand. Then on the book bestie beach trip, we always do like a little book exchange. So bestie Katie got me Saving 6 by Chloe Walsh, 5 stars. Are we surprised? No. And I am so glad I kept putting this off. And she left me the cutest little note in here. I mean, stop. So this follows Joey and Aoife, and Joey is Shannon's older brother in Binding and Keeping 13. And they have a very rough home life. He is just trying to figure out life while being so young and having this huge burden on him. And then Aoife is just this bubbly girl who is drawn to Joey the first time she sees him in school. And it's their little friendship throughout like high school. I don't know what they call it. I think they call it like secondary school. I don't know what terminology they use over there. And it is their little relationship, and Joey is so sweet, and he's trying so hard, but like life just keeps knocking him down, you know? And it was beautiful. It was everything I wanted in this book. I think they are going to be my top couple out of this series, and I cannot wait to get to Redeeming 6 because I need to know kind of how their story wraps up, because at the end of this, oh my lord, if you have not picked up the Boys of Tommen series, do it, because they are such great books and you will not be disappointed. Then I finally finished up the Empire series by Rita Kent, so I read Empire of Lust. This follows Kingsley and Aspen, and when they were in high school, they had a one-night stand. Aspen ends up getting pregnant. Her family tells her that she had a stillborn baby, basically, and she mourns the loss of her child for like 20 years until one day she runs into this man who she had the one-night stand with when they were in high school, and he's been raising her baby, their child, and they hate each other, and that's it. But Empire of Lust is legit the whole premise of this book, okay? That they're boning the whole time. I don't understand. I didn't get it. Wasn't my favorite. It was my least favorite out of this entire one. I rated it 3 stars. I don't know if I said that yet. I was bored, quite frankly. I did not like this take on like single parent, like single dad. I don't think Aspen and Kingsley really liked each other, if I'm being honest. They met one time and had a one-night stand, had Gwen, which is from book 1 of this. Book 2, whatever. She's somewhere in this series. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't like it. I was just trying to get through this Empire series because it was not my favorite. I'm gonna be so for real with you. I did not like it one bit. I don't know if it was beneficial to the Reuniverse at all, because I don't believe any of these people have children. The only thing I liked were the little crumbs that you got from like the Royal Elite character. It just wasn't my favorite, and it is what it is. Then I finished off my month with The Lies We Steal by Monty J. So I rated this book 4 stars. This follows Alistair and Briar. And this book is set in Hollow Heights University. It's like some rich prep school, I guess. And Briar is like a scholarship kid, I believe. And she's just living life, doing her thing at this university. And her friends stumble upon something that they shouldn't have seen, I guess you could say. And these 4 guys, are there 4? think there's 4, are going now after them because they don't want them to say what they saw. And Alistair is one of those guys. And it's basically their little journey, okay? And I loved Briar. She was so badass. I loved her character. She was so cool. She didn't stand for anything. And Alistair was just kind of there. You know, he wasn't my favorite guy out there. And I mean, they were okay together. I just feel like it's kind of giving the same feelings that like Devil's Night series gave me, where I loved book 3 and 4, could care less about book 1 and 2. So I think that's what I'm just hoping out for. Like I'm holding out hope that book 3 and 4 are gonna be like one of my favorites. These 2, they were okay. Didn't really get it, but it is what it is. So those are the 10 books that I read in July. I mean, I still had a good reading month. Let's go over the 12 books I hope to read in August. I asked on TikTok for some book recommendations that I should put on my August TBR because I just wasn't really feeling anything that much. So we're just gonna go through them. I go to books blind most of the time, so I don't really know what any of these books are about. Just know that I've seen them somewhere. Someone said something about them. Something is drawing me to them, and that's why I want to read them. That's basically it. Some are part of series that like I want to continue, but other than that, straight vibe. So number 1, we have This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. I believe this is Single Dad. I read Before I Let Go, 5 stars. I believe this one will also be like 4 or 5 stars. Cover, stunning. So it's just one of those books that I want to get into. You know, heard a lot of good things. That's all I'm going off of for this one. We have Coach by Daphne Perry, another single dad romance, okay? I love them. I will always put them on my TBR. That is the only reason why this is on my TBR. I believe it's also Small Town. I've never read a Daphne Perry book either, so I really want to get into this one and see what her hype is about, because I think she has like the Eden series as well, and everyone talks about them. I see them a lot on Book Talk and stuff like that, so I want to get into her series, kind of see how her writing is. So I believe they were kind of friends or something like that. They knew each other prior to him moving back to this small town. And I believe he is some big NFL guy, and now he's going to coach at this high school that she also works at, and it's going to be their little relationship. Then Bestie Casey got me Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. No idea what this is about. All I know is I think bestie Sarah Crowley read it and she was crying. I think it's about like girl friendships. Love that. I think it's a really good August book. I have no reasoning why it's an August book, but just August vibes. I just picture myself sitting outside reading this book in August. So let's see if I read this in August. Don't know if I will, but I'm trying my best, okay? Then I have this big old guy right here. So I have Redeeming 6 by Chloe Walsh. Bestie Katie got me this one. So obviously I have to put it on my TBR. I need to get to it. I need to know how Joey and Aoife's story ends. It's the second one after Saving 6, obviously, and it's the 4th book in the Boys of Tommen series. And all it does is just follow along with their little story, and I cannot wait to read it. Then I have Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood. Not a clue what this is, okay? All I know is I will read anything this woman writes. So I saw it at Target, I believe, and I was like, I need to pick it up. And I picked it up, and it's just been sitting on my shelves. I believe it's going to have to do with something with women in STEM like they usually do. And yeah, that's it. Forbidden Secret Affair proves that all is fair in love and science. I mean, sounds wonderful. Then I had The Losers Part 1 by Harley LaRue. Love the Dare. Have been dying to get to this, but I just keep putting it off. This is an MM. I don't know how many M's there are actually. MMFMM. I don't know how, not a clue. They're together. Some are all together. Group, singles. I don't know if both men get together. I don't know. There's a lot of M's and one F, and I love that. So, on my TBR. Then I went to the library yesterday, and I got The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. Not a clue what this one's about. It said new. And I was like, oh, let's try it. I think it's fake dating or something. Something along those lines. Ex-wife. I don't really know. Something about a marriage, and they have to fake it to get an inheritance. Something like that. Sounds fun. Got it from the library. Gonna try it. Then I have All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the 3rd in the Natural series. I have no idea what this is about. I don't know who this follows. It's just YA Criminal Minds. Love the 1st and 2nd book, so obviously I have to pick up All In. But that's all I need to know to pick it up. Okay, I'm not going to say this. Whatever this is, okay, this is the book I want to read, okay? It's by Scarlett Drake. It is an MM rockstar romance, and another girl on YouTube that I watch read it, and she absolutely loved it. So I was like, I have to put it on my TBR. And I also believe one of our main characters is married during this, so I don't know if there's cheating involved or anything like that. But it sounds really good, and I want to try it. I will figure out how to say it by the time wrap-ups come around if I read it. I just don't want to butcher it right now. Then I have I Am Elle by Dieter Kellen, and Bessie Casey told me to read this. She said it's basically like the Mindfuck series. It's a dark mystery. I don't know if there's romance in it though. I just know it's like a dark mystery thriller book, something along those lines, and Bessie told me to read it, so I put it on my TBR. And I believe she also told me this is on Kindle Unlimited, and if it's not, I will have to go out and buy it because I do not own it yet. Also, he's just staying here. I don't know what to do with him right now. So then I have 5 Brothers by Penelope Douglas. I believe this one just came out. So this follows the 5 brothers from Tris Venom, I don't know how to say that. I love that book. It is a sapphic, good girl, bad girl book. I had such a good time with it, and I believe it's Clay's brothers. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But it's one of them's 5 brothers. And I don't believe it's Why Choose. Our FMC in this talks to like a few of them, but she picks one at the end. I'll read anything they write. So I had to put this on my TBR. And then lastly, I have Where There's a Will by Jessie Walker. So I believe this is another MM book, and I believe this one's very dark. I think it handles some very dark topics. And I'm just kind of feeling that this month. You know, I want some emotional damage done to me this month. I believe this one will do it for me. When I saw this book, the person that was talking about it said to go into it completely blind. So that is what I'm choosing to do. So those are the 12 books I'm putting on my August TBR. I hope you got some book recs from my July wrap up. Let me know what you're putting on your August TBR. And thank you so much for watching today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Love yous!